Good morning, friends, and welcome to chapel at Concordia Lutheran Church and School. This week has been Dr. Seuss week, and in our classroom, we've been having so much fun with Dr. Seuss books. I bet you have too. I bet you can recognize my hat. I borrowed this from Miss Katie, and this is Horton. It's a Horton hat. And Horton has a book, Horton Hears a Who. This is one of Dr. Seuss's books, and our class really enjoyed it. In this story, Horton the elephant hears a teeny tiny voice asking for help, and he discovers that there's a whole town of people on a speck of dust, and they need his help or they might just drown. They're very afraid, and they need help. And he decides to help them, but all the other animals, they kind of make fun of Horton. There was a kangaroo, there was even an eagle at the end of the story makes fun of Horton. And he says, but a person's a person no matter how small. This story, and I'm going to put this one down, and I'm going to take off my hat. It's hard to see around a trunk. This story reminds me of a Bible story. A story in our Bible that Jesus told. And I have some pictures to go with it. This is a story where someone gets hurt. Well, first it starts with a man asked Jesus how he could have eternal life. And Jesus said, to have eternal life, you have to love the Lord your God with all your heart, and you have to love your neighbor. And the man said, but who is my neighbor? And Jesus told him a story. In the story, and I don't know if you can see this, there's a man at the bottom of the picture, and he was beaten up by robbers. They took his money and they took his clothes, and it's kind of sad. He needed some help. Just like the little speck of dust in Horton Hears a Who, our man in this picture needs some help. And here comes a man on the side of the road. You can see him over here. And he doesn't help. He just keeps walking by. And there's another person way in the back. He also sees this poor man beaten up and just hurting, asking for help, and he doesn't help either. And finally, a third man comes by and stops and helps him. He was the Good Samaritan. He stopped and helped the man. He bandaged up all of his cuts and bruises. He gave him some water. He took care of him. He even put him on his donkey and took him to a hotel, or back then they called them an inn. He took them and he said to the innkeeper, help me take care of this man. He needs help. He said, I'll even pay you to take care of him. And if it takes a little bit more money than I have, when I come back, I'll pay you some more. That was a good thing. I feel pretty good at the end of the story that man really helped the man who was hurt. Well, Jesus asked which one of those men helped the hurt man? The two men who walked by the side of the road, or the third man who stopped, helped him, and took him to an inn? Yeah, he was the helper. He was the good neighbor. And that kind of reminds me of Horton, because Horton did the compassionate, kind thing as well. It's kind of a neighbor's a neighbor, no matter how small. If you forget how to be kind, how to be compassionate, you can remember that in our Dr. Seuss week, Horton the Who is helping us remember, and Jesus' Bible stories always remind us to be kind and to be helpful. And Jesus helps us to be kind and to be helpful. Boys and girls, please pray with me. Dear Jesus, thank you for helpers. Help me to be a good helper, to be kind, to be nice, and to look for people who need help. Because a neighbor's a neighbor, no matter how small. Thanks, boys and girls. Have a great day.